Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on trends and opportunities in home appliances in the new normal in these COVID times and beyond, brought to you by Tata Elxsi and Panasonic, strategic partners and thought leaders in home appliances. Before we start, I want to do a quick time check and an audio check, not a time check, an audio and a video check to make sure that our panelists can all hear each other and see each other. And I'm also going to request audiences to send in a quick test message to make sure that we're receiving your messages. So when we open out the discussion to questions and answers, we are able to get your questions, right? So a quick check from the panelists. Can you all hear, see each other?
We can.
Awesome. Perfect. So let's start. My name is Bhaskar Dutt. I work with Tata Elxsi. And let me start by introducing our August panel. We have Mr. Ganeshan Tyagarajan, the Managing Director for Panasonic India, more than 18 years in the company. Hi. Hello, Mr. Ganeshan. Thank you so much for being on the panel and joining us today. There is Dr. Milind Gante. He is our Vice President for the Home Appliances Business, as well as Assistance Business Unit. Hi, Milind. Good to see you on the show.
Thanks, Bhaskar. It's a pleasure to be here on this panel.
Thank you so much. There is Mr. Narendra Ghate. Naren is our chief designer for our home appliances business, as well as for industrial design and visual effects business. He's a design guru, hates being called that. We're delighted, Naren, you're on the show today.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Very delighted.
Thank you. So 2020 has been a year of the unexpected, to say the least. Yeah, the pandemic has resulted in a huge change in consumer behavior. More and more people are spending time at home. And this has resulted in a need for products, right, that can either automate or make easy our lives as we do our daily chores like cooking and cleaning and things like that. Of course, we don't need help with driving. That's one good silver lining of the current situation, not having to drive wherever we are. So this has led to opportunities for manufacturers to create and sell new products and services. And on the other hand, there's a huge Make in India push by the government of India. And this is also going to lead to opportunities for new global manufacturers to come in, as well as existing manufacturers to expand their footprint, right? In this webinar, we're going to discuss what these new opportunities are and what role design and technology can play to address and leverage these opportunities. Yeah. Let me start with you, Mr. Ganeshan. My first question is, what are the trends that you see in this new normal, right? And what is the impact that COVID has had in terms of increase in demand for certain appliances, tech adaptation, anything at all? We'd love to hear about trends.
Good evening again, all of you. It's great to be here in this panelist. Though the tough times, as you all, we underwent a very tough, challenging COVID-19 situation outside. But a great experience, each one of us had an opportunity in the house, the other inside. So we had a key 4 experience, I can say, what we faced in this COVID situation. 1, experience of outside eating habit become experience it inside the house. And great opportunity of experience by utilizing the product which they were not using or oddly they were using or not touched by them directly, had the opportunity to use the product as much possible to experience to make the recipes in-house. This is the second experience what we had. The third one, by this situation, they had a great experience to do many of the recipes by using the basic product which were there in the kitchen, like be it a cooker, be it a oven toaster, be it a microwave, be it a blender, be it a bakery making machine or a wet grinder, or mixies, any of these, they could have the opportunity to make as many new innovative recipes that they can experience in the house. The fourth one, by this experience, they also had the great opportunity to test the real utility value of the product, what they were using, be it a good brand or a normal brand, or be it a China brand or a brand like Panasonic. They had an opportunity to test the product of most of its utility value, convenience, the quality, the durability, and of course, mainly on the safety. This is the great experience what our consumer or any one of us had a experience during this time. So this paid a good feedback for our industry to enhance the product value and a new creation to the market.
No, absolutely. This is definitely what we're all seeing, and I think the current situation has made all of us mini chefs, right? All of us have been, using the various appliances in our kitchen, and I think what you also mentioned is that the sheer usage, right, of all the appliances has gone up, right? And very often we're using appliances that may not have been used so much, in our day-to-day lives, right? Like I said, all of us are using the kitchen these days. I think everybody, every single person on this panel. For example, at home, I've told my family that I'm going to be making breakfast for the past 4 or 5 months, and they can have anything as long as it's bread and eggs, right? It's like Henry Ford, so you can have any color as long as it's black, right? So, which means that I've been using my mixer grinder, I've been using my blender, I've been using my microwave oven, the gas, all of that, right? And that's makes it quite interesting for us to kind of experiment too. Absolutely, it's definitely what we are seeing and experiencing now.
Stay healthy becomes the talk of the family's forefront kind of experience. Stay healthy in the house. Making use of this product.
Absolutely, stay healthy, eat healthy, all of that, and I think by default, right, because we are cooking at home much more. Clearly, the food is more healthy than what we see outside, unless we're cooking everything butter and ghee, which also happens, though, right? Let me come to Milind. Milind, may I take your views on this in terms of trends that we see in the current new normal?
Hey, thanks, Bhaskar. Let me pick up on a couple of themes that Mr. Ganesan touched on. One of the things he said is that the experience of eating out has become the experience of eating in. And if I look at it, it's a larger, broader trend, right? I think really what's happening is that the culture of buying either goods or services has become a very much do-it-yourself culture because of the shock that COVID has had. And what that has done is that people are now increasingly relying on appliances, both in the kitchen and in the home at large, to help them do various things that they would have earlier outsourced in some form or the other, right? So this is, of course, enormously increased the market for home appliances. The global market for home appliances has increased 8% year on year, which is amazing in an economy that has not been going anywhere. So, terrific opportunities, but there are 2 or 3 trends that I see playing out in this, right? I think Mr. Ganesan already spoke about health as a trend, and that is very true. So, as an example, air purifiers are something that people are increasingly buying. Convenience has become a big trend. Robotic vacuum cleaners, dishwashers, appliances that have not traditionally sold in India. We are seeing big increases in terms of demand. But the most amusing thing or the most interesting thing, and Bhaskar, you sort of alluded to that, is cooking for fun or cooking as a hobby has become increasingly a part of people's day-to-day life. So, I keep talking to some of my college friends, and most of them are now into this pandemic baking, right? So making sourdough at home and stuff like that. And again, there things like dough makers become very important. Things like ovens become very important. And the challenge really is, as an amateur baker, how can I get my sourdough to be as good as the sourdough I used to get at the bakery down the road? So I think lots of challenges, lots of opportunities as well. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how things play out over the next couple of years.
No, absolutely, Milind. In fact, what I loved hearing from what you said is the fact that globally the market has gone up by 8%, which is fantastic, right? That's truly exciting. The other term that I loved hearing from you was pandemic baking. So true, so true. And also another point is that when you talk about sourdough bread, right, it just shows how much smaller our world has become. It's truly a global stage, right? So we're cooking sourdough bread, we're baking sourdough bread, and others are cooking, in the West they're cooking dosas and crepes as they call it, right? So I think in terms of experimentation, excitement, and all of that, it's definitely playing a role there. The current situation, yeah. I started off by talking about changes in user behavior, right? And that's been a big one in the last 6-7 months. Naren, would love to hear from you in terms of what you see as some of these large changes in user behavior.
Hey, thanks. And see, again, to take off from where Milind sort of left off in terms of what was the initial reaction of people when the pandemic hit, and they were sort of uncertain. Everything was withdrawn. They were, uh, trying to find out what is going to be the new normal. And slowly they have realized the new normal means spending a lot of time in the kitchen and cooking, like you alluded to. And basically, what happens is suddenly people who have started going to the kitchen who normally don't go, they are becoming very sensitive to the elements in the kitchen. So if I'm going to use a mixer often, suddenly I'm aware of all the design and all the elements of a mixer, and I suddenly feel that I deserve a better product because now I am cooking myself, I am doing all these chores in the kitchen, and I need a much better design. I deserve a much better sensitivity towards my needs. So whether the mixer is more quiet or whether there can be certain things that can be automated, my expectations from the product in the kitchen have suddenly reached much high, and hence people like us, people like Panasonic, who really focus on design elements, focus on features, focus on the customer research that we do, we are finding a lot of this empathy and this relationship with or the connect with the end consumers who have now started appreciating some of the thought that goes into some of these well-designed products. So that is a big trend that I'm seeing in terms of how people are behaving.
I think the term that you use about people thinking that they deserve better, right? I think is quite key, and that's true not just for people who've been cooking on an ongoing basis, before the situation, right, where the sheer quantum of usage is making sure that people, they feel that everything that they use needs to work every time they need it to work. So dependability, reliability, all of that is obviously very, very important. But even new, like I said, mini chefs or the new gourmet chefs that are experimenting, for them also this deserve term that you use is quite interesting actually. So I'm going to take my next question to you again, Naren. Given these changes in user behavior, are we going to see major changes in the design and use of appliances going forward?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I can name three big trends that can immediately start off. One is partly like we mentioned that the expectation of design is going to be quite high. Expectation of how things are built, how things work is going to be quite high. I mean, some of the engineering is taken for granted, but now people will start appreciating the looks, start appreciating some of the smaller or more unique features that make it, something that I can be proud of. So that pride of my product and my ownership, that will start coming to the kitchen appliances, which was typically not there. I mean, I would be proud of my music system, but now I can be proud of my mixer grinder. So that's the kind of a mindset that people will have. Second is people will start thinking about what kind of new features or new innovations they want. So for example, I have a remote control that turns on and off my AC. Why can't I have a remote control in my kitchen? Why can't I turn on and off appliances in the kitchen itself? Right? So there could be these, I mean, not that this has to be an immediate idea, but people will start expecting these kind of innovations into the system, and that will become the pull from the market. Up till now, manufacturers and designers would come up with ideas and hope that people like. Now people will start really reacting and wanting such ideas to translate from other industries into the kitchen. And third, for example, there's a lot of this underbelly of work in the kitchen, whether it's washing dishes, cleaning up. Even that cannot now be outsourced to the maid, which was the way situation was in many houses. So now if I have to clean my dishes, how can I do it better? I mean, do I get a washing dishwasher, or do I have this new innovation, which is a ultrasonic cleaning that I can fit in my kitchen sink, so that all I have to do is just soak my dishes and they are very easy to clean because this innovation exists. So there are these kind of layers of innovation that people will start expecting, and then that's the changes that I expect and I hope I'll see.
That's very interesting. In fact, one term that you used, which is pride of ownership in kitchen appliances, is actually quite fascinating, right? I mean, it's exactly like you said. We can be proud of our televisions, right? But it's now coming to a point that we're actually discussing different makes or mixer grinders, and it's true. I mean, I have this conversation with friends, which is quite fascinating. Yeah? I'm going to ask you a question, Naren, which is like, I know that aesthetics is obviously important, functionality is important, reliability is important, as we keep using products more and more now, right? Can you think, or can you mention, one small change or innovation in a commonly used product or a space, let's say the kitchen itself, right? That you think will make our lives much easier?
Yeah, so one of the, in fact, as a studio, we keep, innovating, or at least keep brainstorming of new ideas of in appliances and different products. So one of the ideas that we've been toying for almost 2 years, which I hope now will see the light of the day, is an air conditioner that is connected to your kitchen hob, or the kitchen chimney, for example, kitchen chimney. Because if you think about it, I'm trying to create a great experience and a well-being for myself in the kitchen, because now I'm spending so much time in kitchen. I really want to be happy there. And you suddenly realize that it's very sweaty, it's hot, and it's not a pleasant environment. And then you start feeling the real need for elements like this that will make the entire place better. And one of these ideas, and there are many such, would be, for example, an air conditioner fitted in the kitchen chimney.
Well, I absolutely love that idea. Absolutely love that idea. Thank you so much for that, Naren. Ganeshan, may I request, thoughts on this?
Yeah, sure. Add to Mr. Naren's view. Now more and more demand is coming. Expectations are more and more from the consumer. So Panasonic thinking in its own roadmap, like value creation in the product. The value creation in terms of the utility of the product, reduction in the cycle time of their cooking, more convenience, and integrated all-in-one kind of a utility product. Anything, be it a mixie grinder, be it a cooker, is more versatile, compact in space, because now the challenges, the kitchen becoming more and more smaller, and the space become a challenge in each of the houses. It become a very small to occupy. So people are expecting less space conscious product in the kitchen. They have to keep 10 or 12 product today. More and more kitchen utilities are coming. So they are more looking at very sleeker design, very lesser time consuming one, integrated product, and they are looking at also digitalized way. This is being integrated into a digitalized way, so that all the people can select the preset menus, not only just operating it cycle on and off. They can set a preset menu so that they can parallelly do their other house chores in the morning, as now housewives demands in the morning is lesser time they want to spend in the kitchen. So they are looking at more preset menus or a digitalized way of integrating their appliances, whatever they are using. This is the going forward what we are looking at there. So in terms with that, we also collaborate a technology partner like Tata Elxsi to moving forward to enhance the product value in terms of the latest technology or digitalization or any innovative ideas to bring into the value creation in our product. This is be a rice cooker, but it can do much in a digitalized way so that the housewife can use it in a faster and effective way. One more example I can say that today, as you know, this pandemic time, people very difficult to find a piece of bread from the outside. So the bread bakery machine is one of the new avenues what people are looking, not only making the bread in their own house, in the home cooked made one. So this can be, they are also looking at integrated bakery machine, not only make the bread, it can also integrate with the dough making and roti making like that. So these are all the some new avenues what is open up for us to going forward to contribute to the consumers.
No, thank you for that. In fact, multifunctional appliances seems to be a big need of the hour. In fact, even you mentioned in a previous conversation about your rice cooker, right? Which is used not just for cooking rice, but dumplings and biryani and all of that, which is quite unique, right? And it's
Yes.
very India specific in that sense, because I remember living in the US, they called it a crock pot, and the only thing that
Yes.
they did was, cook rice. So this is very exciting, actually. Yeah? So thank you for that. Milind, may I come to you and ask you in terms of from the technology perspective, right? What are the exciting changes that you see, going forward, right? That can leverage the current situation in terms of product design using technology.
So at a broad level, Bhaskar, if I have to talk about it, the opportunity is really created because each of these appliances that used to be really passive in some sense, right, have become more interactive, more connected because of technologies such as IoT and analytics. And let me just give you a few examples, right? I think I mentioned that health is an important feature that going forward as people start coming back to office. The coffee machine becomes a very sensitive spot. You really don't want to touch your coffee machine, but you do want your coffee, right? And is there a way that you can interact with the coffee machine that does not require you to touch it? And there are multiple ways that you can make this happen through QR codes, through some amount of Wi-Fi connectivity, things like that. So that's one possibility. The second one that we've been discussing along with Mr. Ganesan is the use of analytics in predicting when a appliance is likely to go bad. So it could be a rice cooker, it could be your air conditioner. You really do not want your appliance to go bad during this pandemic. And if there is any sort of preventive or a priori maintenance that you can do that will help you prolong the life of your appliance, then that's useful, definitely. The third thing that, and I'm going to call it assisted cooking. That's a big trend. People are now beginning to learn how to make new recipes, looking at YouTube, looking at recipe books available on the net. And at the same time, those require skills, right? So you, as an example, if you're going to cook Chinese, then stir frying is not a skill that's typically commonly available in India. So are there air fryers? Are there frying appliances that can help you make some of these sort of new recipes better, quicker, easier at home? And what kind of technologies would enable that? I think that's really the opportunity going forward.
Very, very interesting, actually. My next question actually is to you again, Milind, which is, beyond products, going beyond products, we are hearing about service-based models, right? And this is to distinguish it from serviceability, which again is a focus area I know for Panasonic, and Mr. Ganesan can talk about that in a bit, right? But in terms of service-based models, right, can you just share a little bit about what's happening in the market?
So, in the past in the US, there has been this big trend towards meal kits. And meal kits now you see come to India as well. In fact, just as recently as 2 weeks ago, I saw Amazon has launched a meal kit service in India, along with Sanjeev Kapoor. So I think there is a meal kit sort of service that is coming in. And this is not very different in some sense from the coffee machines that are there in your offices, which are also very much service based. So that piece is definitely coming in. The second place where as people begin to order in more than eat out, cloud kitchens are becoming popular, and that creates a whole new set of opportunities and challenges for industrial grade kitchen appliances. So those two sort of service aspects we definitely see coming in.
Yes, no, absolutely. But also there are companies like, Tobala, right? People, just like you mentioned, Amazon and meal kits along with Sanjeev Kapoor. I must say Sanjeev Kapoor is really in the front line of innovations. But products like Tobala is very exciting, where it's a meal kit where you get the ingredients sent to you, right? And you get a feel that you've kind of created. You cook something which is different, right? That I think is clearly we'll be seeing more and more of that, right? Even if it's not exotic cooking, even if it's the normal cooking that we do every day, it just seems a little little different. Seems quite exciting in that sense. Yeah. So that's again quite an interesting trend that we see. Naren, would you like to add on to this?
Yeah, so sort of just pushing this slightly more, uh, there's going to be a lot of connected experiences in the kitchen. And when I say connected, it can also be interpreted as appliances that are connected, but also people that are connected. So, you would have heard of online yoga classes where the teacher is having some 20 kids all over the place, doing something together. So there will be these kitchen classes, for example, or cooking classes where, let's say, a master chef as a brand says that at 8 o'clock today, let's make this particular dish. And let's say 100 women or more of them sign up. And then it becomes a sort of a community experience where an appliance becomes a part of this entire setup where the brand, or in this case maybe Sanjeev Kapoor or somebody else, sort of takes you step by step, and it becomes an assisted cooking, like Milind said, but also from a community angle or from this kind of a unified experience or shared experience angle. And then that starts becoming fun. And so people, instead of watching serials at 8 o'clock, will be going to the kitchen to start cooking. So it's a new trend that we see happening.
Well, thanks, Naren. So really, new service-based models like meal kits that Milind mentioned, collaborative cooking, as you mentioned, Naren. These are obviously new things that we're seeing. Mr. Ganeshan, if I may come to you to talk about not just service-based models, but also serviceability, right? The importance of service, which I know are two different things, right? Can you touch a little bit about on that?
Yeah, I'll also touch upon a little bit on the service-based one. As you know, Panasonic cookers or commercial blender, we cater to commercial segment also largely. Now more and more in India, cloud kitchen, as Mr. Milan is saying, this is expanding rapidly in the last 2 years. Many multinational service kitchens are coming up, cloud kitchens. So this is having a great opportunity for us. Some new models we are working on, like pay for use, pay for what you cook, something like a photocopier machine. What you use the product, you pay for it. Some just kind of a trend Panasonic also working on, because we are largely servicing for commercial establishment like cloud kitchens. That I would say. The other one, what you are mentioning about services. Currently, the challenge in the commercial front or in the domestic front, attending a breakdown maintenance or a product goes out of order. So first, there are two action technology we are taking in collaboration with Tata Elxsi. One is like integrating our appliance like a cooker or a mixer or anything. This is we call IoT, Internet of Things enabled services, where the product being monitored, whether it is being used in a particular way it is designed for, or it is going out of the scope of what it is designed for. This is basically to keep the track of the consumer to use the product in a very systematic way to prevent any abnormality in the product. So this will enhance not only the product failure and also an opportunity for to contact the manufacturer on an online basis, so that any small fault can be integrated on an online service base. The consumer can get the service on dot immediately almost. So we targeting to reduce this cycle time down, so that the consumer will be no time to wait for the service. This is a big breakthrough. We are now partnered with Tata Elxsi. This is on a greater advanced level of implementing this. This is basically not only on the commercial front. We are working seriously. If this such an innovation giving a breakthrough, it will give you a great breakthrough for our consumer product also in the houses also in the coming years.
So this is really quite fascinating, also when we use expressions like pay by use, right? Which, in the food business, you associate with coffee machines, right? It's a model that is fairly familiar. Or in the B2B segment, copiers, the photocopier company actually made it famous initially, right? But even in the case of commercial cookers, as you mentioned, Mr. Ganeshan, right? When you go pay by use, it opens up a completely different model. And they things like it's not just a different service-based model, but it's also serviceability, also comes into play. Terrific. I'm going to, request, you to address the next question, which is talking about new partnerships in the ecosystem. I know we touched upon some of the associations and, already, right? But if you can, talk a little bit more about some of the new partnerships that we can expect in this in the ecosystem, will be one.
Yes, Mr. Bhaskar. See, I can mention about three key collaborations what Panasonic it currently in progress. One, of course, which I briefed before, the technological collaboration to bring a value enhancement in our product. This we tied up with the Tata Elxsi. So for all our product, this to create a real technological advancement in the product and value creation in our product and a very rapid phase. This is more focused on Indianized way, though Panasonic has its headquarters R&D center in Japan, but we collaborate with Tata Elxsi so that the focus is more on India based, India consumer taste preference based, and the latest changing dynamics in the market. So this collaboration, we bring a rapid change and a very faster action to bring out new changes in our product. And this will give you a very value creation and benefits to the consumer in a rapid pace. This is one of the collaboration what we had. And number two, we also being a kitchen appliances company and primarily catering to the food related items. Many of our product all output creating for like electric rice cooker is a multi rice cooking of India culture of different regions, be it north or south or east. This cooker has to work for the preferential tasters. We have our mixie grinders, wet grinders, microwave ovens, oven toasters, grill toaster, like many of such product. To create a real understanding of the India consumers cooking taste, we collaborated with the Central Food Technology Research Institute, which is in Mysore, is a government organization, to basically to understand what is a rice, what is the taste expected out of a rice. As you know, India have more than 200 types of varieties of rice. So each rice has to comfortably cook in our cooker. So currently our product being tested for each of these rices so that the output of the taste, the output performance of the rice, the taste remains same wherever you cook this rice. So to have a more understanding of such taste of India culture, we collaborate with the CFTRI, which is giving more output to really continuously to improve our product based upon the Indian cuisines taste across India. This is the second collaboration what we have. The third one I would we would say we have cookery consultant where we create a lot of new recipes. Chandri Bhatt, she is one of our top cookery consultant in India. She is associated with us for the from the inception, more than 30 years. And this is India-based recipe, multi-cuisine recipes across the globe. She create and we upload this in the social media like Facebook or Instagrams or anything. This will reach out a mass across India as well as the globe so that the people across all the sector can enjoy this kind of a collaboration. And also in international level, as you know, we are exporting to many countries, over 50 countries. In the UK, we have a collaboration with the cookery consultant like Todiwala, who makes our cooker, uses the cooker in his restaurant, commercial restaurant, where he uses and prescribes a specified India nature, multi-cuisine recipes and upload in the social media. Such collaboration with such a great cookery consultant. This is a third one what Panasonic had a great collaboration.
Well, thank you. These are great innovations. In fact, on one hand, collaboration with organizations like CFT, 200 varieties of rice. I wasn't aware of that. That's quite amazing. Yeah? As well as tying up with celebrity chefs. Right? These are completely different ends of the continuum. Very, very exciting to hear of this. Yeah. Milind, may I ask you to, share some thoughts on, partnerships that you see going forward? I think you're
Sorry,
on
I was mute. Yeah, I was in mute. Mr. Ganesan already spoke about some of the partnerships that are involved in, the go-to-market side of things, partnering with food institutes, partnering with famous cooks. The way I look at it is more from the technology side, which is, if one thing that we definitely see, Bhaskar, is that appliances are going to be connected 100%. Every single appliance that you can think of in your kitchen today is going to be connected tomorrow. And if appliance makers have to make those appliances connected, then there are a bunch of technologies, a bunch of new technologies that are going to play a very key role, whether it's connectivity, whether it is sensors, or at the higher end, it's intelligence, artificial intelligence, and so on, or mobile apps to control some of these appliances. And for that, my belief is that appliance makers will need to partner with a very strong digital technology company in order to get some of these appliances. Some of these appliances are as old as mankind, right? I mean, a cooker or we've been cooking rice in this country for what, 5,000 years? So the rice cooker is a really old product in that sense. And yet there is technology that keeps evolving and bringing more convenience, ease of cooking, better energy efficiency, and all of that, partnering with a company that is able to bring strong digital technologies would, I believe, be an important facet of success in the market going forward.
Thank you for that, Milind. My next question is for Mr. Ganesan. Can you share your roadmap for Panasonic in India? You've been here for many, many years, right? Decades, actually. Would love to hear about your plans going forward.
Sure, Ms. Bhaskar. Now our appliances company, small appliance company, we are now 30 years from the inception now, 31 years plus. This is a great foundation what we lie down in India. And this small appliances sector, we are catering to the global, more than 50 countries our product are going, except Russia. We are everywhere in the globe. This is a great thing to happen in India from this side. And proudly I can say, this is the only small appliances company exporting our cooker back to Japan. This is one of the proudest, as you know that the challenge of the quality levels of Japan, this company has a greater skill that to re-export back to Japan where this product is invented. So based on this kind of the strong foundation and in line with our company philosophy, contribution to society, untiring effort for improvement and adaptability, we will continue adapt our thinking and behavior to meet the ever-changing condition around us. This is the basic policy I can say going forward. So we, based on these philosophies, these small appliances, we would like to create a global hub this site so that more focus on manufacturing in line with India Prime Minister, the theme Make in India and made for India, for India's benefit. So this is more and more emphasis on manufacturing nature rather in the assembly nature. So this gives you a great value addition, value creation to our product and to the consumer. And going forward, it is not only making the product, we rightly collaborate with technological partners like Tata Elxsi, and which takes us a much advanced level to enhance our product value and rapid changes in our product to going forward very strongly. And these are all the going forward, what we have the plans in the coming years.
So those are very exciting plans, Mr. Ganeshan. In fact, what was most exciting, gratifying to hear is that you're exporting products back to Japan, right? We talk about sending coats to Newcastle. This is fantastic. It's very, very exciting and very encouraging for us to hear. Congratulations on that. Yeah.
As being said, I would like to add, it's not only fewer product what we are making, many of the product we also import. So going forward, these kind of small appliances, we are focusing to make Indies as a global hub sooner or in the coming years. So this will create a very great enhancement of the product value for India based on the Indian taste to give a more contribution and significantly give the contribution back to the society who helped us to come in India in a longer way in the last 30 years.
So that's exciting, actually. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mr. Ganeshan. My next question, I'm going to open it up to all of you, right? When will we finally see automation in cooking, right? Let me send this question to Naren.
Okay, so I have two thoughts in terms of what I feel the trend is or what I can predict should happen or would happen. So let's me first sort of talk about when we say automation, it's like I don't really want to think. I want things to happen automatically. It should just take care of itself. So now imagine from the market I buy a packet of basmati rice or maybe some flour, right? And it has a QR code which I just shine in front of my cooker or oven, and oven understands exactly what it has to do, and it sets everything up, and all I have to do is just pour the packet in. So now we are having a pairing of the product to the food packaging or the food itself, so that they work seamlessly and it will be the best sort of experience, and I don't really make a mistake in terms of setting, especially we are trying to create bread, for example. So that is something that I can expect to happen quite quickly, and that's where some of the partnership and the ecosystem might really come in, where you have a brand associated with the appliance. The second thing that I feel, again coming back to this thing of what should I cook today, what should I do today, this entire question of decision making. Now imagine if your appliances are connected and there is it tells you that today's trend or what is hot today in East Bangalore is this particular rice or this particular flavor, and the appliances start sort of telling you how to cook and maybe help you step by step in terms of now you have to pour this, now you have to do this, I will set the settings for you. So this kind of assistive or collaborative cooking that even Milind was talking about, if that becomes connected to the society as a whole, then it starts creating this automation at a level which is more fun and not just something that you are using just to sort of reduce your labor. It is also excitement and learning new things.
Absolutely, these are very exciting trends actually. In fact, even the product that we're actually working with Panasonic on, which is the microwave oven which has cameras inside, understands what you put in, right? And has enough edge computing to see what the ingredients are and suggest recipes because it's connected. Very, very exciting road ahead actually. Yeah? Thanks for that. And Milind, would love to, hear you weigh in on this, please.
Yes, so I think both Naren and you, Bhaskar, touched on the smart microwave, and there are other examples of automation as well, right? So a strong trend we see in cooking worldwide today is slow cooking, and when you're doing slow cooking, you want to make sure that you've got food on the heat for a long time, but you don't want things to burn, right? And people have now started coming up with temperature sensors which can hook back to an induction cooktop and sort of modulate the amount of heat that the induction cooktop is putting out, just to make sure that there is, the temperature in the dish that you're cooking stays just right, that things don't dry up, and so on and so forth. So that's one example of automation. We are also seeing automation when it comes to managing sustainability. So as an example, in washing machines or dishwashers, water is a very scarce resource in India. And are there smarter ways, of figuring out what clothes you have put in the washing machine so that you can pick a cycle that is appropriate, that gets your clothes washed and yet does not waste water, right? So I think there are very many interesting aspects. See, overall, Bhaskar, if I look at the kitchen of the future, I think it's going to be some combination of fun and functionality. And the idea of automation is really to make sure that you get maximum functionality without taking away any of the fun, right? So I think that's really the trade-off that automation is going to achieve for us. And yeah, it's exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, fun and functionality, I love that pairing actually. Mr. Ganeshan, would you like to add to that, please?
Yeah, I fully agree with what Milan has conveyed. But add to this, automation means a lot in the kitchen. Of course, this give you a lot of convenience, whatever it forms, wherever it cuts the time of cooking or making any recipes or anything. Such automation is always going forward is a welcoming one, and it is a great benefit to the housewife or the end user. Definitely, it can be on any nature, which can enhance the facility in the kitchen. Not only the kitchen, of course, the kitchen appliances of any type. But add to this, I would like to say, as a Panasonic principle, we are looking at more automation which can contribute for the safety of the product, safety to the consumer. The automation should bring in line to enhance the safety levels of the product. Currently, even though it's not much here, but are rare accidents happening in the kitchen or any of the appliances. It can be due to the electric shock, or it can be a malfunction, or the safety is not there, something like that. And moreover, the reason the younger generation children are more and more exposed to such appliances. So Panasonic looking at not only the automation as the thing, it is combined feature of safety in it. So it brings the value creation by way of the safety. Maybe looking forward, this one of the great thing to happen. Apart from the other points, what Ms. Nirain and Milan pointed out, safety is the key point in the automation.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Ganeshan. In fact, it's been a great discussion, very interesting, both the trends and opportunities. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to open up the session to Q&A for questions from the audience. We've already had some very interesting questions coming in, and I'm going to jump straight into them. We have a question from Robin from VGuard. Can current products change to product as a service? How strong will this trend be, and what will decide the criteria for this change? Milan, would you like to take that question?
Sure, and I'd also like Mr. Ganeshan and Naren to pitch in on this. But the way I look at this, Bhaskar, is that there are two places where we see product as a service coming in. Definitely, you're going to see product as a service come in areas such as cloud kitchens. You're also likely to see product as a service come in areas like office pantries and so on and so forth. Right, most offices today have pantries where which sell a little bit of snacks, and you really want to reduce human contact going forward, at least for the next couple of years. So that is another area where I definitely see the possibility of product as a service. Domestic usage, definitely bachelors are good prime candidates for product as a service. So many of them nowadays can really cook very, very well, right? But nonetheless, meal kits and things like that, I think that is one space where there is perhaps potential for product as a market. Mr. Ganesan?
Yeah, of course, I fully agree. It depends. Going forward, it is currently more brighter in the commercial segment, though the domestic segment is not so great. But as you said, more bachelors, IT companies and automobile companies are growing. Of course, the more in the domestic segment also is grooming up for such a pay and use kind of a technology platform. But it depends the product quality, durability also on that, which counts, which can be rented out or pay for use. The product should be much rugged in nature so that it can give you much user, much durability. Then only it can have a sustainability business. So yes, of course, this is one great thing to happen. Definitely, it has the opportunity And then nowadays, in the coming years, for not only in the commercial segment, but also in the domestic segment. Some of the product like maybe a wet grinder, oven toaster grill, or even a blenders, health hygiene blender, we call the slow blender or slow juicer, or health drink juicers. These are all costing you 50,000 rupees plus, and each home would love to have, but affordability is the limitation. Maybe such a product can be maybe for domestic in the way forward to people will be looking at pay for use, like that a concept definitely will step in the sooner or later in the coming years.
Thank you, Naren. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a great question, and let me give a stab at it in terms of something that I could see like a business model, and I'm surprised that it's still not happened. So imagine a partnership between let's say Panasonic, Amazon, and let's say ITC. And so when I'm buying a rice cooker, I'm actually buying rice, not cooker. In the end, I want the rice cooker to cook my rice. So imagine it's a subscription that if I buy 2 years of subscription of rice, or maybe if I buy 1,000 kgs of rice as a, that is going to be delivered to me every week or every month, the rice cooker comes along with it. And all of that is, let's say, organized by Amazon, because that's where some of the marketplace happens. So then this could be the way in which the rice is made for the cooker is made for that specific rice, and in the end I'm buying actual consumption quantities or consumption purchases rather than appliance. So this is one example that can be applied to so many products.
No, thanks for that, Naren. Absolutely fascinating. We have another question from Mr. Giri, and it goes, I'm just going to read out the question that's the fastest way, I guess. We have seen that home appliances are designed based on what marketing wants to sell, or the company wants to increase the sales in terms of functionality or bringing technology. There's never been any inclusive design considering the user of the customer. How is Panasonic or Tata Elxsi bringing empathy and inclusiveness in design? I know that Naren and Mr. Ganeshan and Milan, you're going to love this question. So any of you, please go ahead.
Sorry, I lost the voice of yours. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to repeat that quickly. It says that, there's been a lot of focus on what, the question is that there's generally a lot of focus on what marketing wants to sell, right? But is there any inclusive design, right, in India, which brings in empathy and inclusiveness in creating and selling a product? So I think, Mr. Ganesh, can you hear me?
Still,
yeah. Should we get you back online? May I request Naren?
Yeah. You can let them other hands. I'll come back again.
Yeah. So let me just. So one is a wonderful question, and so as a process, as a profession, as a ethos, empathy, or that slight detailed thinking about what the actual user is, what is the usage, why is it that a particular feature is needed. All of that has to be really built into the product so that users really appreciate and they feel the love that people have had for the product, because that's how it gets translated in when the product is being used. But apart from this kind of talking that I'm doing, what is currently happening is any wrong product design gets very badly hammered by the reviews and the the YouTube feedbacks that come in. So you cannot really make a mistake. You cannot take the consumer for granted. On the other hand, if you really take that extra effort to understand, what are those nuances of people's needs, and you built it in, it will get expanded. It will get validated, and it will really become viral. So then that certainly becomes your USP, because now everybody is talking about how this is the correct word to have, right? So that is the second point. And one last point I will just add before I sort of hand it back is we talked about quality, we talked about need of design something that is better, well engineered, right? That automatically means that I'm going to buy something that should last for many years. And when I'm taking a buying decision that is not frivolous, that is something that is going to last for me and I'm going to use every day, my family is going to use. As a purchaser, I'm going to be very sensitive about small things that I expect to be there. And hence, if it's a pure marketing approach where I'm trying to do something like a copy or having a feature list that I'm going to do this tick mark kind of buying, then it will not really work. It will not sustain itself. And that's something that is now becoming more and more transparent.
If I can just add to what Naren said, right? I think there is technology, but how the same technology is used across multiple cultures is very different. So if you just look at something, as simple as steaming, in an East Asian context, steaming would be probably steamed wontons. In India, that's probably steamed idlis, right? And that is the sort of empathy that cultural insights or empathy, whatever word is, I'm not very sure, but that's really where people like Naren bring their special skills, eh, Naren?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we all should know the consumer, so it's no longer restricted to the designer.
Right.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. So there's another very interesting question that's come in, which is, do you see hobbies integrating with kitchen appliances to make chores more fun? Example, learning how to sing while cooking or cleaning. I love this question. Naren, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, so again, partly like what we had discussed earlier, that whether you call it collaborative cooking, whether you call it assistive cooking, whether you call it community cooking, there is going to be this element of people sort of taking part in a cooking event, right? So then that is where some of this hobby sort of comes in, so that like you would have seen those bartenders that can really uh, juggle with bottles, and so you will have somebody who's able to really chop the onions in a very specific artistic way. So then that becomes a hobby. Or for example, if I can sort of go down this path, you have this photography, right? I'm going to cook something that is going to be beautiful, and I'm going to document my entire process, and I'm just going to make it a beautiful sort of a movie that runs for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to put it in social media. So then that becomes a hobby where I'm sort of trying to bring in these other elements into the way I'm conducting my cooking activity.
Yeah, very exciting possibilities actually. Yeah. Let me take another question, and this one I think is mostly for Mr. Ganeshan. What is the impact on your business due to COVID? How has it affected the production and supply chain? Welcome back, Mr. Ganeshan.
I lost the voice. Sorry, one more time, please.
I'm going to repeat that. I'm sorry. Yeah. What is the impact on your business due to COVID? How has it affected the production and supply chain?
Here I'll answer like how the COVID impact affected the production and supply chain. I think. Yeah. Basically, as you are aware that many of the places are blocked in terms of many of our partners, trade partners, or their manufacturing parts, vendors. These and due to which we could not have the opportunity to get the past time, which resulted a lot of production delay and production loss, and which resulted, as you know, that we are supplying to our 50 countries. Exports we really severely affected. And means during the month of March, where what we could manufacture and finished could not go out in time. So we could do it something partially in the April, something partially in May until June. This affected nearly 3 months in terms of supply chain to specifically for export market as well the domestic. Yeah. And since the lockdown continues, it has a big bearing on our business impact in terms of our first quarter. Which we could do around only 50% of our business plan or the target quantity. Though we could stabilize right now, but during the COVID, we very much affected due to the power supply. Though our most of the parts are made out of India, but still the COVID, especially in the regions like Maharashtra, and Pune, or even in Chennai, many laborers did not turn to the work due to the widely spread. And even though they work for 10 days, next 10 days, there were wide spread of infection. So this is really collapsed our system.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I think the audio is also a little bad. So we heard your answer, and I'm going to go by what Milind said at the beginning of the session, where that the sale of kitchen appliances, home appliances, actually gone up, and I'm sure that is what will happen over the next quarters, right? Once we get over the hiccups of the lockdowns, the multiple lockdowns that we've had. No, so thank you so much. It's been a great Q&A session. We had some great questions. So audience, thank you so much for sending them in. I want to thank all of you, the panelists, right? Mr. Ganeshan, Milind, Naren, for getting on a very interesting discussion. I want to thank the audience for logging and registering and logging in and spending the last hour with us. And we hope to do this again. And thank you so much. At the end of this session, you will see, actually you see it right now on the screen. There's an email address where you can mail us with feedback, comments, suggestions. We would really appreciate that. Thank you so much again. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar and Milan and Ray.
Bye-bye.
And Saravana, all the Tata Elxsi team. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ganeshan. Thank you, Naren. Thank you, Milind.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.